Hi and welcome to Your Turn, your daily acting challenge where every day we're going to set you a new exercise which you can complete in your own time, in your own space and with very few resources necessary. Today's acting challenge exercise is brought to us by Russian 20th century great Konstantin Stanislavski, the godfather of method acting. Now Stanislavski was very, very clear that he wanted his actors to behave naturally, to experience their roles rather than to present them for an audience. So he's got a particular problem in that as soon as an actor is observed, their behavior changes. And you might see this yourself. If somebody's watching you, even the simplest of activities becomes strained and awkward and clumsy. You kind of become tense and you become nervous and worried about what people think about you. Walking, talking, breathing, the things that we take for granted in everyday life, Stanislavski reminds us that the actor must relearn, like a child, like an infant, in order to do it naturally on the stage when they're being watched. Because we're drawn towards thinking about the people who are watching us. And that's something that the characters that we're playing aren't. So it causes a conflict in the character. Stanislavski calls it the magnet of the audience, and he demonstrated it very well for his actors when he shone different lights on stage to show where the actors should be paying their attention, and then lit up a seat in the auditorium while they were performing and distracted his actors and going, that lit seat is your harsh drama critic. And we've all got one, somebody who we imagine in the audience who we're desperate to impress, or perhaps who we're desperate to hide from, that harsh drama critic. So how do we overcome this? We train our concentration of attention, and we drill it, and we thoroughly, systematically find ways to focus on things, and we train our brain to behave in ways that we want. So the simple secret, according to Stanislavski, the simple secret to avoid being drawn by that magnet of the audience is to get away from them. You have to focus on something inside the drama. You have to have a point of attention, and that point of attention must be on stage or on set, not in the audience or behind the camera. So concentration of attention. Stanislavski darkened the stage, he shone spotlights on different parts. He'd begin with a very, very tight pool of light. Inside it, maybe like a table and a lamp and some object on the table, is a small circle of attention. And then he would widen that pool of light into like to light a room. That would be a medium circle of attention. And then he would light areas further and further afield, which would be a large circle of attention. And he'd ask his actors to concentrate their attention inside these pools of light. And what they found is when they asked them to repeat the exercise without the pools of light, we become distracted by all sorts of things outside where we want to be focused. So we have to train. And this exercise, the circles of attention, is one of my favorites. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to find an object. Object exercises are very, very important for method acting. Object, for me today, I'm going to use this key here. So pick an object nearby you, pick an object that has some kind of value to you, or you're attracted to it, so that it piques your curiosity, so that you are able to sustain your concentration, your concentrated attention on the object, finding out as much as possible about it, exploring it with your eyes, the shape, the size, the quality of the material, the markings, the writing, the differences in the appearance, in the wornness and the smoothness. Find out as much as you can in 30 seconds about your object. So you're going to time yourself. You're going to give yourself 30 seconds to look at your object in as much detail as you can. And really, really look. Stanislavski is very, very keen for you not to do what he calls mechanical staring, which is the art of pretending to look really without really seeing. And everybody can do it. We've all been there, stared at a teacher's blackboard, or perhaps looked at somebody's face when they're telling you their name and it doesn't go in. So this is the art of really paying attention to something for 30 seconds and finding out visually as much as you can about that object. And at the end of 30 seconds, you put the object away, or in Stanislavski's case, you turn the light out, and you ask the actor to repeat all of the things, the details that they found out about that object. So once I've looked at my key for 30 seconds, I'll remove it from my sight, and then I will describe it to you as around about 2-inch long metal key with some fairly sharp edges. It's made of something that's quite shiny in 2 different colours. There's a gold colour and a silver colour, and there's a hole in the top of the key, in the head of the key, the square head of the key, where there's a loop of some leather material which is around about 8 inches looped over, which somebody could put round their neck for the key. You see what I'm doing? I'm describing it in as much detail as you can, and it doesn't have to be a key, but it is useful if you find that object that you can interact with, because your interaction with it will sustain your interest and pique your curiosity and drive you towards finding out more and absorbing yourself in the minutiae of the detail. So there's a point of attention. And then Stanislavski opens up that point of attention. It's quite easy to sustain your attention on a single point. He opens that to a small circle of attention, say a tabletop, or if you imagine a circle around yourself, just your immediate objects around you. So now what you're being asked to do is you're being asked to concentrate on a small circle of attention. Maybe the objects on a table near you. Maybe your surrounds of your chair as you sit. Maybe as you're walking down the street, you keep that circle of attention within around about a metre or so distance. And for 30 seconds, observe everything within that circle of attention, bracketing out everything else. The more you focus in this circle of attention, the more everything else kind of fades, just like Stanislavski's theatre, into blackness. Or it should do. Now, for some people, this is easier than others. If it's not easy for you, don't give up, because this is precisely where your training is going to come in handy. You keep coming back to the exercise, you keep making it part of your routine, and you keep observing this circle of attention, and just everything else will drift away into nothingness, and you finally begin to focus your attention. The next stage is a medium circle of attention. And the medium circle of attention is everything in your immediate room, let's say. So now Stanislavski is asking us for 30 seconds to devote our attention to our immediate surroundings, maybe our room that we're in. So after 30 seconds and looking at these individual spaces in my room and forming a bigger picture, I will then be asked to close my eyes and to describe everything that I've seen from my memory in detail. And then once again, Stanislavski opens up this from a medium circle of attention to a large circle of attention. Now, a large circle of attention is as far as your eye can see within your space. So I can now see outside in my room, into my hall. I can see outside into my backyard there. And I'm just going to observe everything as far as I can see outside of my room as well as inside. Now, if you're completely outside, your circle of attention could take you, your large circle of attention could take you as far as the horizon. Now, as we begin to enlarge our circle of attention, what we find is our focus, our attention begins to waver, and there are other things that call on our attention that we don't really want inside our attention. And at that moment that our attention wavers, Stanislavski asks us to withdraw back into a smaller circle and a smaller circle still, until we're absolutely certain that we have mastered our concentration of attention. So there we have it. We have a point of attention, which is my small object. We have a small circle of attention, maybe about a metre around yourself. We have a medium circle of attention, our room, and we have a large circle of attention outside of our room and as far as the eye can see. So you can mess around with the variations if you like. The important thing is to keep on trying it, and you will get better. So you can experiment with variations. You can see how far you can concentrate your attention before it begins to waver and then draw it back. You can focus not only a circle of attention on yourself, but you can focus that circle of attention on a distant spot and you can look at that in a small circle and see if you can observe objects which are further afield and sometimes much further off. See how you get on with that exercise. Or you can see how long you can concentrate your attention for. Really time yourself and see how long you can focus maybe on a second hand moving around a clock. See how long you can focus on that second hand moving without anything else disturbing your focus of attention for as long as you can. And also what Stanislavski did is he reduced the amount of time that his actors had to look to focus their attention before they had to recall. So I looked at this key for 30 seconds. The next stage might be to look at it for 20 seconds, or to look at a different object for 10 seconds, or finally maybe to look at an object for 2 seconds and then close your eyes and recall the object. So this requires hard work and discipline. It's difficult to overemphasize how much discipline Stanislavski wanted from his actors. He said, "The field of attention calls for tremendous effort and hard work, for time, for desire to succeed, and for systematic practice." So the concept is simple, the secret is simple. You focus on something that is not the audience, that's not somebody watching you, but the practice of it takes years and the mastery of it will take a lifetime. So we've got to re-educate ourselves to see things, to listen, to hear, to walk and talk while being watched on stage and screen. And we need to put effort into fixing our attention. We need to see things and take them in instead of mechanically staring. And it's not just the outside world. It's not just outer attention that Stanislavski wants us to learn. It's inner attention as well. And we can use that inner attention to explore our emotions and our senses and to improve our ability to be creative. But inner attention, we're going to deal with that tomorrow. So have fun with the circles of attention, looking at the point of focus of attention, the small circle, the medium circle, and the larger circle, and let us know how you get on. Have fun.